Your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You think that, Patty?
I agree.
All right, listen, I want to start with this. Oh, what a night. Watching Tottenham on a Tuesday night. You play
Get out!
because you're
Get
fucking
out!
shy. What a feeling, what a night.
You can't then tell me that two players go out and you strengthened as well, and then all of a sudden your whole season crumbles. It's crazy. And to me, if Arsenal don't make top four this season, that is one of the biggest bottle jobs in recent Premier League history.
You run off.
Well, imagine me then turning around and saying, oh, you guys are celebrating today, but 3 weeks ago you were unhappy. That's football. But it doesn't make you a flip-flop fan.
Yeah,
You're
but bro,
actually
like,
enjoying it. I'm not happy, man. I was underwhelmed. I was quite shocked when he was when we were linked to him. I mean, we had some big hitters in there originally, Conte, Poch, you know. So then to be then linked with Nuno and for him to get the nod over all the other guys.
Grin, almost as big as he is because he's like 6'5". Very good friend, very good person. Previously of our channel friends Views TV is the one and only Patrick Tyrant.
Yes, what's happening, people? It's your boy Patrick Tyrant, aka Young Swaggy Daniels. When you see the T, see the P. When you see the peanut represents T. Let's go. I think we're live. Yeah, man. I think we are live. Good morning. How you doing? How are you all? Flipping out. Like, my eyes are red. Hay fever's beating my ass. Or is it because I've been crying since the last two results? It's crazy. The football's been coming thick and fast. It's been difficult to put a stream out after the game because of all the other streams and pods I'm on. So I thought, let me wait for the Chelsea game and I'll do, you know, the London derbies back to back. Dare I say, here we are. I'm recording this on Saturday, the 4th of May. It's 10 a.m. Well, it's 10 past 10. If I'm being honest, started a little bit late. You know, it's with YouTubers. We've got to get the anticipation, got to get the crowd bubbling. And yeah, we're 0 for 2, man. 0 for 2 in our recent London derbies against two of our fiercest rivals. And we've got a lot to chop up, a lot to discuss because it is not good right now. It's not good. So good morning to you all. Cheers. I promise you this is tea and not alcohol. Tottenham haven't got me to the stage where I'm drinking, you know, and yeah, drowning my tears or sorrows in alcohol. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. But yeah, like to see, yeah, good morning. Good morning to you all. Good afternoon if you're watching this on the replay. Good evening if you're watching this on the replay. My name is Patrick Tyrant. This is Chatty Patty, episode 2.7. And we're going to talk about Tottenham versus Arsenal and then Chelsea versus Tottenham. And yeah, we're like, basically, let's start with some housekeeping. If you're here for the first time, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you go, so you're notified whenever I go live. I don't have a set time. You know, I'm in the mix. Life is life in, and I'm here, there, and everywhere. But obviously, I promised you guys to always bring you good, up-to-date content. So yeah, if you hit the bell, then you'll know exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going to be and when I'm going live and stuff. Subscribe to me on YouTube. It's Patrick Tyrant. You can follow me on Twitter. That is also Patrick Tyrant. My Instagram is Patrick Tyrant as well. You know, send me a follow or whatever you call it, a request, and I'll accept that if you look normal. Like, I see all these requests on Instagram and people have got like no pictures, no posts, and they want to follow me. That's a bit weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least be normal on Instagram. Twitter, cool, whatever. My Twitter's open. Instagram's a bit more private, so you've got to look at least normal for me to accept it. But yeah, on the others I will. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, man, where do we start? I think we have to start with the Arsenal game. So the North London derby, which was on Sunday. Sunday the 28th, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head, 2 p.m. kickoff. And naturally, we went into the game off the back of the beating by Newcastle. So we got spanked 4-0 by Newcastle. And the annoying thing is we had a 2-week break before we played again, just because I had a fixtures fell. Man City, our game against Man City got moved because they was in a semi-final or whatever it was. So yeah, we had a 2-week break to mull and fester on that really bad spanking away up at Newcastle, Tyneside, St James's Park, yeah, whatever you want to call it. So I went into the game obviously a bit nervous because it's a North London derby, but full of optimism. We've had 2 weeks on the training field, 2 weeks to get things right, 2 weeks to work on tactics, 2 weeks to work on set pieces, 2 weeks to hopefully sort out zonal marking, 2 weeks to put a fire up these guys' arses, 2 weeks to hopefully get Maddison in some sort of form, 2 weeks for Ange to figure out his midfield, 2 weeks for Ange to hopefully be a bit more tactically flexible in these games, in these big games against the good managers, against the managers that have something about them. 2 weeks for a lot of unanswered questions to be answered, and unfortunately they weren't answered. All it left us with is more questions after the game. Yeah, man. I mean, let's see who's with me. Yeah, morning. How you doing, Paddy, my guy? How are you? Yeah, up the Spurs. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that right now. I mean, not to you, of course. Yeah, you're my guy, good guy, but Tottenham are pissing me off. I can't lie. Feeling a bit nervous about tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into that, but I asked a few questions. I spoke to Ricky yesterday and I asked him, when's the last time Tottenham went 0 for 4, had 4 losses on the bounce? And Ricky told me it's been like almost 20 years. I think the last guy or the last team that did it was the AVB Tim Sherwood Tottenham Hotspur. So obviously that's between 2 managers. So yeah, I mean, it's bad, man. I mean, I think the last time one manager had 4 losses on the bounce was about 20 years ago. So that tells its own story. And I will get into all of that. I'm going to chop that up. Some positivity on the stream. You know what? As much as I will be positive and I love to be positive, I've also got to be real. Like, the reason why people have taken to me and the reason why people tune in and the reason why people ask me on podcasts is because I'm always honest and real. And I give my opinion. At the end of the day, it's my opinion. It's my thoughts. Not everyone's going to agree with it, but I do keep it real. I'm not just going to give you guys blind optimism and just say things that aren't true. I have to speak on what's happening. We have to speak on what's going on. And right now, it's not really positive, is it? We have to be honest. Like, with 0 for 3, we've lost 2 London derbies back to back. So as much as you want to be positive and you can take a step back and say the season as a whole may be successful to some, may be decent to some, when you look at our recent form, especially in 2024, it hasn't been positive really, especially in the away games. We will touch on that, but you know, I guess I got to give you guys the truth. And yeah, hopefully you take it with what it is. But sometimes it's hard to be positive when there's so much going on which isn't positive. Just as how it is, isn't it? I guess. Remember, it's only football. Yeah, they say football is the most important of the least important things, and I think that's a really good saying. And I think sometimes we have to put that out there, put that into context, and even just remember that. You know, when you're fuming, when you're getting angry, when you're pissed off, when it's affecting your mood, you have to sometimes say, you know what, it's only football. And as much as we, you know, it's not only football to us, is it? We live it, we breathe it. You know, I hate doing that. I always get it wrong. You know, like when you're on the streams, and yeah, I always get it wrong. But anyway, yeah, it's your team. It's your lifeline. It's, you know, it's what a lot of people live for. It's what a lot of people use as an escapism from life. And you get behind your team, you support them through the thick and the thin. And it's quite weird, isn't it? Sometimes I do sit back and I think about it, and I like, you know, for everything that's going on, for all the doom and the gloom, we're 5th in the table. We're in probably the best league in the world. There's probably 70 to 80 teams in the football pyramid, maybe even a bit more. I think there's 90 teams in total. So there's at least 84 teams that are below us right now and would love to be in our position. But here we are moaning, screaming, crying, cursing, getting pissed off, letting it affect our mood. Sometimes I do sit back and think, But then also when I look at where we are and where we could be, there is a reason why I am feeling how I am, but sometimes I do have to say, you know what, it's not that deep when I look at what it could be. But then also, if you have that mentality, you'll never strive to get to the next level. So, you know, I'm just looking at it from both sides. Hope you can understand that. Doug, my guy, how are you? How's the family? How's the little one? How's your missus? Good guy. Well, to be fair, I shouldn't even be shouting you. I shouldn't be asking. We've got these guys tomorrow. He's a Liverpool fan, by the way, people. So, yeah, Anfield away is going to be tough, man. It's going to be a sticky one, especially with the way we're playing. The thing is, I will get into it, but I was saying to people who listen to me and anyone that wants to chat to me and stuff like that, that for me to feel confident about going to Anfield away, which I'm never going to feel confident of because of our record there, we had to get something at the bridge, had to. And obviously we didn't. So I'm really worried about this one. But also I'm not at that stage now. I'm like, what will be, man. Top four's essentially out the window. I just hope these guys show some pride and some sort of pride, passion, you know, something, because it didn't look good against Chelsea. Angie's demeanor has changed a lot recently. He looks more agitated. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what Tottenham will do to you, man. That's what Tottenham will do to you. And also, I think as well, I mean, we will talk about it, but I just think sometimes it feels like what he's trying to portray isn't coming across. And I also feel that he needs to try and mix things up a bit, you know. So that's that. His embargo professor yesterday was very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Ange needs to figure it out. I mean, Ange's got the capabilities and the foundations to be a very good manager. Right now, I'd say he's a good manager. He's not a very good manager. You'll see when he comes up against the good managers, or the very good managers, he does struggle. Pochettino's got the best of him twice, so make of that what you will. And Chelsea's team on Thursday was nowhere near their strongest. So again, make of that what you will. Always value your view and opinions. I appreciate that. And I always value the people that tune in. I always value the people that have something positive to say. I always value the people that, like what I say, man. I mean, obviously, if people didn't like what I say and didn't enjoy what I was saying, I wouldn't be doing it, in the sense of I wouldn't have been asked on all these different podcasts and probably would have never heard of me. So it works both ways, and I'm humbled and appreciative. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. This is your time. So the fact that you're here with me is beautiful. But anyway, before I say hello to everyone in the comments and see what's going on, but let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about what we came here to talk about. And the first game was obviously Tottenham versus Arsenal. So like I said, that kicked off on Sunday the 28th. And I went into this game feeling confident, in the sense of typically the team at home in a North London derby has the edge, has the advantage. Everyone going there, all the Spurs fans, there was a bit of negativity before the game. A few people were worried. Arsenal off the back of a 5-0 thump. I think they beat Chelsea 5-0, if I remember correctly, but they had just come off the back of some good results. Obviously, Arsenal have been in scintillating form in 2024. Other than the loss to Villa at home, they've been pretty much perfect in the Premier League. The fact that they are still first in the league is a testament to how good they are. They're no mugs. At the beginning of the season, I painfully predicted that Arsenal would again be in a title challenge, a title race with City and Liverpool, and pretty much that's bang on right now. Liverpool have kind of fallen away, but Arsenal are the real deal. They are where they are on merit. They are where they are because they play good football. They are where they are because Arteta, annoyingly, has adapted and has improved as a manager. You know, this is a manager that finished 8th and 5th. And in the last 2 years, obviously, he finished 2nd last year. And God knows, I pray, I was going to swear on stream there, but I hope to God that they don't win it this year. But they are right there, man. And they're not falling away. So, you know, their game against Bournemouth kicks off at 12:30. Bournemouth, Solanke. They call in the Cobb and Benzema. I didn't know that till the other day. Shout out to Dan, one of my Chelsea guys who I was on the stream with. He told me that. Hopefully Dominic Solanke has something for them. But realistically, they should beat Bournemouth. But you just never know with football. All we can do is hope, pray, keep our fingers and toes crossed that someone puts a dent in this Arsenal's titles challenge, because we couldn't, unfortunately, do it. We couldn't do our job, so we've got to hope and pray others do theirs. But let's get into the starting 11. So Spurs versus Arsenal. To be fair, let me move the banner. Apologies, sorry, not the banner. Let's move that comment just for now. Yeah, so we went into the game, like I said, with pretty much our strongest 11, bar Destiny Yadoji, who surprisingly picked up an injury in training and was out for the season. So obviously our starting 11 read Vicario, Pedro Porro on the right, Romero, Van der Ven in the middle, of course, Ben Davies on the left, which would make sense as the natural left back, who's always deputised and stepped in whenever needed. A midfield, which we kind of can see right now. Ange Postecoglou was struggling to figure out his best midfield, struggling to figure out his best combination and partnership there. But we went with Bentancur and Højbjerg. When I saw this lineup, I liked it. Obviously, Bentancur, silky, composed on the ball, very good at, linking attack with defense and all of that good stuff. And then Højbjerg, bit more disciplined than a Basuma or a Sarr, obviously a bit more weathered in that role, a bit more just a veteran, really. Good player on his day. Probably doesn't fit our system. We probably will part ways with him in the summer, but he is a consummate professional. That's the word. Whenever he's asked to, to perform or come in, he does. Decent player. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. Kulusevski, James Maddison, Timo Werner, Heung-min Son. Timo Werner came off after about 16 minutes injured. Didn't look right to begin with, to be fair. Probably shouldn't have played, but here we are. Kulusevski had a brilliant game. What frustrates me with Kulusevski this year is he's so up and down. 1 minute he looks like a world beater. Against Arsenal, he was so good. Should have had a penalty. He caused them a lot of problems, and I just liked what he was doing. He was direct. He was making things work, and he looked really good. Anyways, let's go to the Arsenal team. You can't see it at the bottom there, but obviously David Raya starting in goal, who won the Golden Glove yesterday with the games left and the amount of clean sheets he's ahead of the other goalkeepers. He got given that. So to be fair, I mean, the Arteta gamble, obviously Ramsdale versus Raya versus Ramsdale, it looks like it's paid off. Arsenal have been very solid. They probably kept the most, probably have kept the most clean sheets now. Probably shipped in the most least amount of goals. Haven't fact checked that, but it probably is considering their defensive record. And then they had Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White. I hate that. You know what? Hate is a strong word, and obviously I don't know any of these footballers, and passions and rivalries aside, but he is someone I just don't like. I don't like his face. I don't like the look of him. I hate the without being personal, I hate the spray tan. I just hate everything about him, and obviously he winds me up so much. Just despise the guy, man. I really don't like him. That's one footballer. Other than that, no footballers really get on my nerves, but he does. And I wonder if any people in the comments or anyone watching this back would agree with me. He's just one guy I'd love to punch in the face. And again, this sounds a bit mad because I'm not trying to promote violence. I'm not trying to promote anyone doing anything crazy when they come across Arsenal players or whatever, but he's just one guy I just want to, do you know what I mean? Just, yeah. And the fact that he did that to Vicario as well, and no one on our team did anything to him, that winds me up as well, man. Like, yeah, he's annoying. I will give it to him though, in the sense of like that streetwiseness, that devil in him, that, like what Dele Alli had. Romero's got it in him, but we don't really have anyone other than him who has that bite or that edginess to them. But yeah, he does wind me up. But anyway, Declan Rice, of course, Thomas Partey, Odegaard, Saka, Kai Havertz, and Trossard. So yeah, that was the team. Like I said, I was happy with the lineup. Had no qualms with that, no issues with that. And it was such a weird one because we started the game really well. We looked like the team who was asserting ourselves and trying to come into the game. They got a corner. I thought it was a crap corner. Watching it live, I was like, oh, that's a shit corner by Saka. Didn't even beat the first man. All of a sudden, I see them wheeling off celebrating. So I'm like, what's going on? Obviously, in a stadium, you don't get to see replays when the other team score. They don't show it back. And obviously, it's an own goal as well. I found out Højbjerg, own goal. I don't know, man. It came off him. He kind of didn't have a choice to really anything but go for the ball. He's just unlucky, the connection. Beat Vicario 1-0. So I'm like, okay. Again, we get back into the game. Kulusevski gets fouled. It's a definite foul, contact. He was clipped. He tried to be honest and stayed on his feet. this is what winds me up about football, because essentially they promote cheating, they promote being soft, they promote going down on contact, because Kulusevski was honest, tried to stay on his feet to gain the advantage, didn't work. He obviously naturally fell over because he did get clipped. We didn't get the penalty. Kai Havertz, long ball over the top, and this is where the defensive naivety has to come into question, because no one picked up Saka, no one saw that he was obviously isolated by himself. Kai Havertz, ball over the top. Saka's one-on-one with Ben Davis. Ben Davis didn't do a good job. Obviously, Saka is a very talented forward, but you have to show him on his weak foot. He made it very easy for Saka to cut inside. And then Saka just placed it in the corner where you would expect your striker or your finisher to place the ball. Vicario, no chance, 2-0. So it went from almost being 1-1 from a penalty claim. And actually, before that, we had a really good shout for a goal which we thought we had scored, and it got ruled off. So it went from us potentially being 1-1 to them being 1-0 to then a potential penalty shout for us being 2-0 down against the run of play. So I'm shell-shocked, like, what the hell's going on? We're 2-0 down and we didn't deserve to be it. But it's crazy, isn't it? London derbies, I'm like, damn, what's going on here? And then before you know it, it's 3-0. 3-0 in the 38th minute at home in a London derby. I've never seen that before in my life. Do you know what I mean? Never. And I've seen some shit Tottenham teams, and it shocked me to my core. I didn't know what to think at halftime. Everyone around me didn't know what to say. We're like, we don't deserve to be not even 1-0 down. We're 3-0 down. And two of the goals were from set pieces. Obviously, the own goal, and then Kai Havertz's goal, the third goal. So it's the same things that are costing us in every game. When are we going to wake up to these issues? I pointed this out months ago. I mean, anyone that watches the games or watches us will know what's going on. Any manager that plays us makes sure that they crash us on corners. They have obviously set piece routines and they go to town on them. And we just concede so many set pieces, and it's really killing us. It killed us in that game. 3-0 down at halftime. I've never seen it again. Anyone that would like to let me know if that's ever happened in a North London derby. But again, I've never seen it, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Obviously, we had to be better in the second half. I was thinking, please don't let it be a cricket score at home. 3-0 down is already pretty much essentially the game's gone. You ain't winning from 3-0 down unless something crazy happens. The best you can do is try and fight in the second half and show some pride and essentially win the second half. And then, it's a bit more of a respectable loss. But it was mad. It was mad. So questions have to be asked on Ange Postecoglou and the players as well. Essentially, they're the guys on the pitch. They're the guys who are carrying out his tactics or lack of tactics. And but look, let's go back to, so like I said, at 1-0 down, Mickey van der Ven scores a goal after it ricocheted off and came off Thomas Partey and I can't remember who else, and Tomiyasu, that's it. It says it up there. Both of them tried to play the ball, which in my opinion, or even the referee, in footballing standpoints, means that the ball was then live. So the goal should have stood. So we got done by on that one. That should have been a goal. Should have been 1-1. And in the season, you do get calls where sometimes they're borderline and they're 50-50s and then this and that. But we had that one. We also had the trip on Kulusevski. Again, these are stills. Obviously, I can't play it for copyright and infringement purposes. But Trossard 100% clips Kulusevski. Should have been a pen. So we had a goal ruled off, a penalty not given, and all of a sudden, like I said, we're 2-0 down. So it's a bit mental. I think the referee didn't have a good game. I didn't think he had control of the game. He let David Raya waste about 10 minutes. Obviously, they was up from very early on, so it was okay and easy for them to time waste. And the referee didn't get a hand on that and should have been a bit more assertive. Thomas Partey was where's it? Yeah, pushed Romero as he went for a header. Clear push. Again, nothing was given. Mental, because I've seen that given as well. Michael Oliver, who was the referee, didn't even give us stonewall penalty, by the way. We've only had 2 penalties this season. This was the second one. Michael Oliver, watching the game, he was 5 yards away from it. Declan Rice literally booted Ben Davis. It was like almost assault. He missed the ball. It was a legitimate attempt to get the ball. He missed it. Cool. It was 100% a foul. You could even see by Declan Rice's reaction. He knew he had caught him. It was a foul. Ben Davies was rolling around on the floor, legitimately injured. Michael Oliver played on. VAR had to call him and tell him to go to the screen. As soon as he saw it, he gave the penalty. And like this guy, he had an awful game, man. And, you know, I hate to blame the referees and this and that, because obviously, ultimately, the players on the pitch need to do their job, and so does the manager. But when you have so many things don't go your way, it does impact, and unfortunately, it will affect the game. There were fouls. My gripe, and I said this on the football terrace on Tuesday. My gripe with Michael Oliver is that he wasn't consistent with his calls. So we would foul a player, and he would give a foul, and he would give a free kick. They would do the same sort of foul with the same intensity, and he wouldn't give it. And that's what just winds me up, because I'm like, if that's the bar you set in the game and everything's a foul, then we understand and the players will get it. When it's going one way and not the other, it just really confuses me and everyone that's watching the game. It just doesn't make sense. I thought he had a stinker, and definitely he helped in the result. I'm not trying to like blame him for our loss. At the end of the day, it is in our hands as well. But ultimately, when all these things go against you, it will impact the decision and ultimately the outcome of the game. So yeah, really frustrating. Ben White, again, this is where I'm a bit like, I'm not really, but Ben White clearly obstructing Vicario before they scored their second goal. You know, sometimes these are given, sometimes they're not. I'm not going to go over the top on that, but these are just things where, obviously, on another day, we were quite unlucky in this game, if I'm being honest. Quite unlucky. Yeah, everyone's gone crazy about this. The funny thing is, the Premier League actually put this up on their official Twitter account, and they got pelters from all sorts of fans saying, "How is this funny? How are you condoning cheating?" And basically, I don't know if it's cheating, but obviously it's not something that you should be laughing at with the Arsenal boys, especially if you're a neutral Premier League. You're basically, you're the Premier League. You shouldn't be like illustrating or promoting this sort of stuff. So anyway, they took it down. But again, this is where Vicario needs to be stronger though. I mean, Ben White did what he did. Cool. Like, I have no issues really with Ben White doing what he did. It is what it is. Football isn't always going to be about smiles and gamesmanship is part of football. Sportsmanship is not always going to be not everyone's going to be nice, and you need characters. You need people that are going to do whatever it takes to win a game. I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is one of our boys sticking up for Vicario, or Vicario just being a bit more of just be a bit more solid, man. Elbow him in the neck, push him, do something. Like, stand your ground so he leaves you alone. Like, you can't allow people to just do this shit to you week in and week out. Like, Vicario, I think, is a great goalkeeper. I think he's definitely got all the tools to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But he needs to be a bit more commanding. His physical presence, out of 10, is probably about a 2 or 3. He needs to be more commanding on set pieces and on corners. And he needs to be a bit more of he needs to get in the gym a bit as well. Stiffen up, strengthen up that core, that upper body, and just be a bit more commanding, man. Like, elbow, push people, show some sort of fight, man. Like, stop allowing people to bully you, because that's essentially what Ben White did there. And here's another one. Havertz, both hands on Mickey van der Ven, and obviously Ben White obstructing Vicario. So again, wasn't a good game. But what I will say is that I thought Romero was excellent in that game. For all the people that don't really watch Spurs, watch 1 or 2 games, listen to Gary Neville after the Chelsea game. Oh, Romero's rash, Romero's this, Romero's that. Romero's been a brilliant defender this season. He's calm on the ball. He's really good at passing. If you watch him closely, you'll see that he breaks lines with his passing. He's comfortable progressing the ball. He's actually a good aerial threat. Should have scored against Chelsea. We'll get into that. Obviously, he scored. He took his chance against Raya, pressed him. David Raya made a really bad mistake, but Romero coolly slotted it away. And I thought Kulusevski in the Arsenal game was really good as well. We get onto the Chelsea performance, but he was good in the Arsenal game. So yeah, shout out to those two. For me, I thought that Ange Postecoglou played into Arteta's hands. Arteta was a very good manager. Arteta was someone who has developed and adapted, and I just don't think that Ange has. So what it means is that we're easy to play against. What this means is that, were quite predictable. And what it means is that I'm noticing as well that managers will allow us to have all of the ball, like 62% possession at home against a team like Arsenal, who are very, one of the most possessive. Is that the right word? But yeah, Arsenal are a team that love to hold the ball, get on the ball. They're one of the teams that love to have possession of the football, just like we do, just like Chelsea, just like Man City, just like most of the good teams. But teams I'm noticing will allow us to have the ball in the middle of the park where we're not really doing much side-to-side passing, try and go down the flanks, zip it in. And obviously the good defensive teams will back themselves to clear the ball. We don't really have an aerial threat in the box anyway. So really and truly, these crosses in, unless they're inch perfect and they beat a defender or two for a back post tap in, or someone getting in front of someone to get in front of the ball, it's not really going to work. So I'm noticing the trend, and of course it looks good on the stats that you've got a lot of the ball, but unless you're actually using that to put the ball in the back of the net, which is the main thing in football, ultimately you're going to lose the game. As you can see, other than that, I mean, it's frustrating to lose that game, but I just think that the better manager on the day got the best out of his players and did his job. Fair play to them. Hate to say it, but obviously it is what it is, isn't it, really? I'm not going to go through all the stats and bore you guys to death, but that was that game. So obviously we go into Thursday's game against Chelsea. There was a lot of talks before the game. Chelsea missing a lot of players, not being able to field a full bench and all of that stuff. And I was like, our record at Stamford Bridge is so poor, so I wasn't going to get too excited and too ahead of myself. But I thought, surely, I think it's one win in 33 years, one win in the Premier League era. But surely we have to get something today, especially our top four chances were on the line. Like, we knew that if we win our games, we really put the pressure on Villa. Villa were also still in the Conference League, so they're going to have a couple more games, high-intensity games as well, do-or-die games. So all we can do is do our best, get points on the board and worry about the rest later. We obviously lost the North London derby, so we're already down 3 points. So we go into this Chelsea game, a Chelsea team that obviously beat us 4-1 at the beginning of the season when we went down to 9 men, had 2 injuries. That's essentially where our season derailed and crashed, and a lot went wrong from there. So I thought, cool, these boys will try and show me something, try and get one over on Poch, our old manager. And obviously it's a London derby. Chelsea have an outside chance of qualifying for Europe, an outside chance, but really and truly, Chelsea were just playing for pride. So yeah, I went into the game quite, not confident, but just thinking I would see some sort of reaction. We've lost 2 games in a row now. In our last 2 games before the Chelsea game, you can see the 4 against Newcastle, 3 against Arsenal. So you do the maths, that's 7 goals conceded, only 2 scored. That isn't good in any shape or form, no matter what style of football you're trying to play. Defensively, we're very frail, and we're conceding a lot of goals. So I wanted us to go into this game, show some fight, show some ambition, and get the win, man. We needed it for our sakes to try and push for top 4, which obviously was the goal considering where we've been for most of the season now. So yeah, as I said, going to the game, the starting lineups for Tottenham, Vicario in goal, Emerson Royale on the left because Ben Davies unfortunately got injured in the Arsenal game and he's out for the season. The defensive partnership speaks for itself, and Devena Romero, and then Pedro Porro on the right. Again, as I said before, it's clear that Ange Postecoglou doesn't know his best midfield. He keeps chopping and changing things up. So in this game, we went for Pat Matassar and Yves Bissouma. So a bit of agility, mobility, legs in midfield, and obviously Bissouma, good on the ball. Hopefully we'll push the ball forward and basically be that link between midfield and defence. Midfield and attack, or defence and midfield. Kulusevski in the 10. Maddison got dropped, which I was happy to see that, to be honest. Maddison hasn't been good since he's come back from injury. He was really poor in the Arsenal game. He struggled to basically be the Maddison of old. He struggled to shape a game, dictate a game, and really have an influence on the game. Kulusevski had a very good game against Arsenal, as I said earlier. So to see him in a 10, I thought, yeah, you know what, that's cool. Let's try that out, see how it goes. I like Kulusevski. So I was excited to see what happened. Son on the left really excited me because it meant Richarlison down the middle, an actual striker playing as a 9, and obviously Sonny on the left, number 7 on the left wing, in the wing where he, in my opinion, he's much better, and then Brennan Johnson on the right. Brennan Johnson again, a young player. Not going to go too crazy on him. It's his first season at Spurs. He's been good in moments, but again, time to show me something in a big game. So yeah, excited to go into the game, see what happens. And in that first half, we absolutely stunk. I've never seen Ange go crazy before in the game. He went mental. I just think that the players, they just didn't show no bite, no conviction. They just didn't look up for it. It's a North London derby, sorry, not a North London derby. It's a London derby. After Arsenal, Chelsea are our fiercest rivals, 100%. Chelsea is Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham. Those are the three, in my opinion, big London derbies. West Ham, not so much, if I'm being real, just because of the quality of the team, and they definitely are more up for it than we are. But it's still a game with vim and passion and stuff like that, because of obviously the proximity of the two teams and the history between us. But Chelsea and Arsenal, the non-negotiables for me in those games is that you actually show some fight. You can lose a game, of course. You can lose any game, as I always say, but it's how you lose the game. And in that first half, we were so wishy-washy. We just didn't look like we wanted to be there. And they went in 1-0 up. So again, I'm like, cool, okay, there has to be some sort of bite back or fight back in the second half. And we played better, but we didn't really test the goalkeeper. And this is what I keep saying as well. Like the good managers, they allow us to have the ball in the middle of the park. They allow us to have the ball, obviously, in defence, the defenders passing side to side and trying to progress the ball, because it doesn't really hurt them. But where we're meant to be showing or actually making a difference, we're not. And ultimately, we lost this game 2-0. I thought I had the stats. Apologies, it doesn't look like I loaded them up. We lost this game 2-0. Don't have the main stat, but here you go. Lost the game 2-0. Expected goals. Chelsea seemed a bit more dangerous when it mattered. Possession-wise, I think, again, we had over 60% possession, but ultimately we didn't do much with it. And I believe we had there you go. We had 3 shots on target, but I don't recall their keeper making a save. I don't recall their keeper being stressed out or under duress or us really testing him. 2 of the saves I remember were from long distance. I think Højbjerg come on and took a long shot. I think Bentancur as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we didn't test the goalkeeper. And for me, the last couple of games, our attack has fizzled out. We obviously didn't score against Newcastle, and we now haven't scored against Chelsea as well. And from a team that literally used to score in every game, it kind of looks like now that, there's no attacking play, there's no attacking patterns, and we're just not a dangerous team where I mean, without going on too much about it, my question to you guys, and just an open, honest question, is like, has Ange been found out? What's happened to Ange Postecoglou? The Premier League is the best league in the world for a reason. The Premier League has the most tactically flexible managers in the world, the most tactically intelligent managers in the world. And right now, Ange isn't really showing me that he's at that level yet. And, for all the people that get onto Pochettino, me included, obviously I don't like the guy anymore, the fact that he's gone to Chelsea. But in the summer, he was on my managerial shortlist. My managerial shortlist was Arne Slot, who's now at Liverpool, was about to go to Liverpool, Pochettino, Nagelsmann, and Marcelo Gallardo. So I thought about it. 4 managers that are attainable, that we could go and get, that would show ambition, and obviously could take Tottenham and progress them further. Nagelsmann would have been my number 1, just because I think he's a fantastic young manager, plays a great brand of football, is really good with developing talent, has a good eye for talent. And I believe that if he came to Tottenham and was backed, he could do wonderful things with us. Pochettino, I thought, if he comes in and has that fight and that spark to really basically right his wrongs from the last time and how he left, and showed everyone that he's still got it and all of that stuff, and he knows Spurs. We all know what he can do with young players. My only question with Poch is he still as committed and as dedicated as he was before, or has he kind of burned out essentially? But still a very good manager. Arne Slot, fantastic what he's done in Eredivisie. Again, obviously, question marks will be asked. Will he be able to translate that into the Premier League? Looks like Liverpool are going to take that gamble. We'll find out. And then Marcelo Gallardo, fantastic South American manager. Weirdly enough, never really got the interest and basically the plaudits that he should do over here. No big teams really come in for him, but he's done so many good things at River Plate, and a lot of the brilliant Argentinian players that you see, he developed and molded them, played a brilliant brand of football, and I thought he would have done fantastic with us. He's been learning English for the last couple of years. He's now in the Saudi league at the moment, but yeah, surprised that no one's really gone in for him. So obviously he's a bit of a wild card pick, but I thought he would do well. Sometimes you need someone that's not really, is fresh and has a point to prove. So those were my 4 managerial picks. We all know what happened. We got an Ange Postecoglou. I had my reservations about him, but obviously he's here, and I was happy to see things out and see how they go. First 10 games were brilliant. First 12 games were good. And since then, I do wonder. I do wonder about Ange. I do wonder about his tactical intelligence. I do wonder about the naivety. Is he so stubborn that he's going to end up dying on his sword? It is his first season, so I do have to understand that, and I do have to take that into consideration. And it's funny because obviously I'm on a lot of different streams and podcasts. I was on Saeed's show yesterday, and it's called Agree to Disagree. And obviously all the boys were on there yesterday coming for Tottenham because there's 2 losses in a row. So you had Lee Judges and Gooner Lee, obviously Arsenal fans. You had Goonie and Dan, Chelsea fans. Saeed is naturally a Man United fan. Myself, and I think that was it. And yeah, the daggers were out, the knives were out. They were going over the top. And I said, of course, I'm frustrated with what's going on. I can understand some of what you're saying, but they were overdoing it. And I was like, listen, it's Ange's first season. In Arteta's first 2 seasons, he finished 8th and 8th. Tottenham are 5th right now. So some of the stuff they were saying was a bit ridiculous. I'm like, we're not 11th, we're not 12th, we're not 15th, we are 5th. And we are where we deserve to be right now. We're the 5th best team in the league. It's frustrating considering we were in and around the top 4 for a lot of the season, but we have no divine right to be in the top 4. And if you don't play to your abilities, then you're not going to get there. There's too many games that we've thrown away or not turned up in. So we don't deserve to be in the top 4 right now. And again, this is something I was saying at the beginning of the new year on Last Word on Spurs. I was like, obviously I wanted us to finish as high as possible, so in the top 4. But I said back then, if we're stuttering and stammering, struggling to see out games, the form is inconsistent, we're up and down, then I'd rather we go into the Europa League, go big in the summer and go to win it, try to win it. Because playing in the Champions League with this sort of team and this sort of form, it's a waste of time, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yes, it's good to be in the Champions League, but we're not going to get anywhere tangible, and we're not going to win that competition with this team right now. So, and with Ange Postecoglou managing as he's managing. So for me, we are where we deserve to be, and I'd rather us finish in the Europa League if this is what it's going to be, and we go again. That doesn't mean that I'm settling for 5th, and next year I just want us to be. No, I want us to improve every year. But I also understand that it is a project and it takes time. And has shown me enough to see that, cool, he may be the guy. But I do have my doubts and my reservations. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat things. There are concerns. Like, we've shipped in a lot of goals in our last 3 games. We've shipped in a lot of goals all season. We keep making the same mistakes, which does worry me, because I'm like, when are we going to figure things out? And also as well, I'd like to see a bit of a tweak here and there. Arsenal tweaked their game when they came to play us. Chelsea, Pochettino definitely tweaked his system when he played us. Look at this, by the way. Look at this. Chelsea's bench yesterday. Let me move this banner just so you guys can see. And this is where, right now, if I have to be honest, and you ask me a question, who's the better manager, Ange Postecoglou or Pochettino? Even though Pochettino is in a worse position with this Chelsea team, he's obviously going through a lot behind the scenes. I would have to say Pochettino. He's shown tactical intelligence in his time. He's shown that he can adapt. He's shown that he can tweak things and improve year on year. And he's shown that he can develop players. Obviously Ange's first season here, but I haven't seen anything in this first year to show me that he's going to do that. And if he doesn't do that, he will die on his sword. Because if we're shaky like this next season, and it's October, December, the fan base will start to divide and really start to ask questions. But going back to the point I'm trying to make here, look at Chelsea's bench yesterday. On Thursday. They had Midvik, they had Gilchrist, they had and they had sorry, what am I talking about? They had Casadei, Achipong, and Turian come on. So they only used 3 of their 5 subs. And then if you look at the other players on the bench, they're all like kids we've never heard of. Sturge, Turanian, Castledine, and yeah, just guys we've never even heard of. My point is, look at our bench. We had Højbjerg, Dragerson, Madison, Gill, Lo Celso, and Bentancur, and Oliver Skip. Like, I'm sorry, there's no way we should be losing 2-0 in that game. And if you get outplayed, then you get, but yeah, it's a madness, and that's what worries me about Ange Postecoglou, the tactical intelligence, and yeah, I just need to see something because it is worrying. It is a concern for me right now. And yeah, I just need to see a bit more from what I'm seeing from Ange. But I will say this as well, just to put things into context. In Arteta's first season, look at some of the results. And this is a brilliant tweet, by the way, from THCRT. And so he's just illustrating that it can be rocky in a manager's first season, and also that managers do need time. They do need an allowance to obviously implement their brand of football, and also sometimes you just need to believe in what's going on. Of course, no one's going to have blind faith. You'd have to show us something for us to get behind you. He has shown us enough in the first couple of months for us to understand there's something there. But again, right now I need to see a bit more. But as you can see from the results there, look how many losses are back to back in Arsenal's form back then. 1 draw sprinkled between a win, but they lost 2 on the spin. Then they got a win against Man United. Then they lost to Villa, drew with Leeds, and then they lost 3 in a row to Wolves, Tottenham, and Burnley. So, Arteta has gone on to become a good manager, but it's just to show that these things can happen, to put things into perspective. So that's all I'm trying to do. But I'm not gonna harp on too long. I don't want us to be too negative. I'm 46 minutes in. Let's see the comments, and then I'm gonna get out of here. So yeah, exactly. He needs to adapt. I agree. Yeah, what's good, Matt? How you doing? Other than that, I'm not gonna say too much. Chelsea boy, NS, good guy, but again, not really here to be nice to rivals right now. But big you up, you are a good guy. I thought they were overly aggressive. He's probably talking about Arsenal. Yeah, they were, and we didn't adapt to that, and we didn't stand up for ourselves. Which loss hurt more, the Chelsea one? The North London derby, of course. With all due respect, obviously you're a Chelsea fan. It's a big derby, but the North London derby is the biggest derby. They're our fiercest rivals, and we were at home as well. So that's a game I never want to see us lose at home. And to be 3-0 down after 38 minutes, that really hurt. That I was shell shocked. Yeah, it was hard to recover from that. So yeah. Yeah, our bench definitely. So this is NS, a Chelsea fan, saying our bench was better than theirs. Exactly, but you beat us 2-0. So make it that what you will. Yeah, and exactly. I think they played Gilchrist at right back. Sonny didn't really go at him until the second half, and it's like until deep in the second half. And again, that's a question where the players and the manager need to come under question. Our next result is, our next fixture is Liverpool away tomorrow. Obviously, that's a tough game, like a super hard game. It makes it even tougher when you look at how we've been playing. So yeah, may the football gods be with us because we're going to need it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I'm not looking forward to that one. I'm not going to lie to you. And the remaining fixtures at the moment, let me move this. Let me move that comment. Yeah, got Liverpool tomorrow, Burnley at home on the 11th of May, Man City at home, so back-to-back home games on the 14th, which is Tuesday, and then our last game is Sheffield United away. So, we'll see what I think we finished 5th personally, and I think all in all that's a decent season considering the circumstances and considering how we, what happened in the summers, losing Harry Kane and all of that good stuff, and a new manager, new goalkeeper, new centre-back, new midfielders, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But it is disappointing considering 4th was in our hands for so long. We were in the top 3 for a lot of the season. Then we were in the top 4, and we've messed up. We've messed up. Fulham away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, Chelsea at home, Chelsea away, losing twice to Wolves at home and away, losing to West Ham when we were the better team at home, losing to Aston Villa at home when we were the better team. There's a lot of games where I can point my finger and say, if we would have picked up points there, it could have been a different season. But unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, after this amount of games, you are where you deserve to be in the table. The table doesn't lie after 34 games, 33 games, and the table definitely doesn't lie after 38 games. So what I will say now is, I bid you all a good weekend. I bid you all a fantastic bank holiday weekend. Tottenham are playing tomorrow. Please, for the love of God, for the love of the football gods, play down on us. We're going to need it at Anfield. Show some fight, show some conviction. Don't embarrass me, Spurs. And for all the Spurs fans out there, let's get together. Let's not go at each other. I've seen a lot of stuff online, a lot of people going at each other. At the end of the day, this is football. It's not anything deeper than that. Let's not make it deeper than that. And for everyone else that's tuned in, thank you for tuning in. My name's Patrick Tyrant, Chatty Patty Podcast. This is episode 2.7. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 2.7. Thanks for tuning in. I'll definitely catch you next week. Be good, take care, and all the best.